we know about the shooter and the moments he opened fire. Plus,
this is incredibly unusual to have someone who does not understand how intelligence operations happen.
She's President-elect Trump's pick to be Director of National Intelligence, but critics are concerned about Tulsi Gabbard's past positions on Russia, Syria, China, and Iran. Can she get confirmed? We take a look at her past and potential future. And
yo creo que lo más importante es que la película pone muchos temas encima de la mesa para que tú reflexiones sobre ellos. No es ese tipo de películas en las que te dicen lo que tienes que pensar.
The Oscar buzz is getting louder for Carla Sofia Gascon. We sit down with the star of Emilia Perez to discuss the demands and emotions of the role and her possible path to Academy Award history. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin tonight with that brazen murder in the middle of America's largest city. The CEO of United Healthcare gunned down outside the Hilton Hotel where investors were just about to meet. Now an urgent manhunt is underway for this man. Surveillance video shows United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson at 6:40 this morning, the gunman shooting him from behind and firing several more rounds. Police say he ran through an alley, then hopped onto a bicycle and rode into Central Park. Authorities are now asking for the public's help, sharing these images of the masked suspect wearing a hooded jacket and a distinctive gray backpack. Investigators have found clues at the scene: a water bottle, a candy wrapper, a cell phone, and shell casings. Also tonight, the search for a motive. Was it personal, or did it have anything to do with his job? We have full coverage tonight, and we'll hear from retired NYPD Chief Detective Bob Boyce in a moment. But we begin with ABC's senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky.
This is the chilling moment a gunman opens fire multiple times in the heart of Manhattan, killing Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, one of the nation's largest health insurers, as he arrived at an investors' conference at the Hilton Hotel. Police studying that video showing the suspect firing from just feet away with a gun that appears to have a silencer.
Every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack.
The horror unfolding at the start of the morning rush hour. Police say the shooter was lying in wait for several minutes. A woman standing in a doorway is seen running away when the shooting starts.
It appears that the gun malfunctions as he clears the jam and begins to fire again. From watching the video, it does seem that he's proficient in the use of firearms, as he was able to clear the malfunctions pretty quickly.
That's him, you know, when he was running, he got like a black gun, and I saw him after he shot him, he ran across the street.
Thompson, a 50-year-old husband and father of two from Minnesota, was shot multiple times in his back and leg. EMTs racing him to the hospital, but it was too late. After the shooting, the killer made his escape on foot through this alleyway. Eventually, he hopped on a bike and pedaled off towards Central Park. A surveillance camera capturing the suspect on that bike in a matter of minutes as he heads up 6th Avenue and is last seen entering Central Park at 6:48 a.m.
The shooter appears to be a light-skinned male. He's wearing a light brown or cream-colored jacket, a black face mask, black and white sneakers, and a very distinctive gray backpack.
Tonight, an urgent search for a killer and his motive. Did he have any known enemies or anyone that you've been able to find so far?
We're reaching out to law enforcement in Minnesota, and we're also interviewing his co-workers and family members to see if there have been any specific threats against him in the past.
Thompson's wife, Paulette, issuing a statement to ABC News saying, "We are shattered to hear about the senseless killing of our beloved Brian. Brian was an incredibly loving, generous, talented man who truly lived life to the fullest and touched so many lives. Most importantly, Brian was an incredibly loving father to our two sons and will be greatly missed." His wife not confirming whether there had been threats against her husband, but 3 different Minnesota law enforcement agencies told ABC News there had been no reports of threats against Thompson. Sources tell ABC News investigators believe a cell phone, candy wrapper, and water bottle found near the hotel are linked to the shooter. Detectives also recovered 3 live rounds and 3 spent rounds from a 9mm gun.
And we will not rest until we identify and apprehend the shooter in this case.
The targeted shooting just blocks from Rockefeller Center, where tonight tens of thousands are gathering for the annual Christmas tree lighting. The NYPD is trying to reassure them.
Millions of people will be enjoying the tree lighting tonight, among other holiday events, and the NYPD will be out there with them, keeping them safe.
A number of people certainly on edge. Aaron Katersky joins us now from the scene. And Aaron, we know the suspect was last seen racing into Central Park. What's the latest on the search, and what potential motives are police looking into?
Dozens of investigators, Lindsay, are now scouring the city for evidence. They're hoping to find something they can use to extract DNA. They're also canvassing for video because they'd like to see a glimpse of the guy with his mask down. Already what they found here at the scene, I'm told, has been what's been described as forensically rich. Now, one possible theory for the shooting, this resulted from a grudge either against United Healthcare or Thompson himself. Lindsay?
All right, Aaron Katersky for us. Thanks so much, Aaron. All right, let's bring in ABC News contributor and retired NYPD Chief of Detectives, Bob Boies. Thank you so much for joining us, as always. Let's begin with the crime scene. Detectives are now honing in on those items, including a cell phone, candy wrapper believed to be linked to the shooter. How soon do you think that authorities might be able to get a hit on any possible DNA? What does that process look like?
So right now, Lindsay, it takes a while to develop forensics into a profile for DNA or fingerprint analysis. They already collected these things that are looking. The telephone is probably the easiest way to do it, and they're looking at that now, breaking it down. They believe all these things belong to the shooter. So he wasn't the professional that everybody thought he was earlier. Additionally, there's a lot of rounds on the floor. There's 3 shell casings and 3 live rounds that ejected from the firearm. Now, what was earlier reported that it's a city bike, it was not. It's a regular bicycle. Now, and they did that throughout the day with extra videos. They saw him. Right now, the key point is where he exited the park. And we have a lot of assets up in the park, a lot of video cameras of people leaving the park. So that's being evaluated right now. And the hunt is on.
Earlier, you said more than likely there was a silencer on the gun. What made you think that?
So I talked to some experts today. We have a witness who says he saw an elongated barrel. If you see the shooter on the video, it looks like it's a longer barrel as well. And the witness said it was a silencer. Now, if you understand, and I speak to some experts about this, the silencer, when attached to a gun, and they're more common than people think they are, it will decrease the velocity of the round. So instead of 1,400 square foot a minute, it'll go down to a second, excuse me, it'll go down to 1,000. That's still enough to kill a man, which it did. We think the first shot did kill Mr. Thompson, but it jams up the gun because there's not enough gas kickback to eject the round. So that's why he had to clear it. So right now, the thinking is it's a silencer on the gun.
How key is public input at this point in interviewing any potential witnesses?
Lindsay, we got to get a better image of the perpetrator, and that's what detectives are doing right now. Get that image, put it out, and we'll go from there. The operating motive right now is a grudge against the company, and so that'll be delved with the 2. Any emails that went to the company or to Mr. Thompson will be evaluated.
Bob Boies for us. Thanks so much for your insight, as always. President-elect Trump's embattled nominee for Defense Secretary, former Fox host Pete Hegseth, is standing firm, saying that Trump told him to keep on fighting. Hegseth's mother appeared on Fox News, acknowledging that she wrote a letter accusing him of abusing women 7 years ago, but now she says he's changed. Meanwhile, other names are emerging as possible options in the event Hegseth does back down. Here's our Mary Bruce.
Tonight, Donald Trump's embattled pick for Secretary of Defense, former Fox News host Pete Hegseth, says he will keep fighting.
I spoke to the president-elect this morning. He said, keep going, keep fighting. Find your way.
So you're in this all the way.
Why would I back down? I've always been a fighter.
Hegseth back on Capitol Hill facing a barrage of new questions about troubling allegations involving alleged sexual misconduct, alcohol problems, and financial mismanagement. And tonight, multiple sources tell us Trump is now considering other options to lead the Pentagon.
Excuse us.
Are you planning to drop out?
Today, Hegseth calling those allegations the art of the smear, adamantly denying a rape accusation and saying he doesn't have a problem with alcohol, even promising not to drink if he gets the job.
He offered up to me, and I know he has with other senators too, that he's not drinking, and that's not something he's going to do when confirmed here.
And tonight, Hegseth now relying on his mother, too, to make the case for him. Today on Fox News, his mother saying he's a changed man. But when asked about a 2018 email she wrote him accusing her son of being an abuser of women, she didn't deny the email, but maintained he's different now.
I would just say that some of those attachments or descriptions are just not true, especially anymore.
Tonight, with a growing number of Republican senators signaling they are not behind him, Hegseth, an Army veteran with no military leadership experience, still making the case for himself.
That's what Donald Trump asked me to do. Your job is to bring a war-fighting ethos back to the Pentagon. Your job is to make sure that it's lethality, lethality, lethality. Everything else is gone. Everything else that distracts from that shouldn't be happening. That's the message I'm hearing from senators in that advise and consent process.
He can lose just 3 Republican senators, today trying to court key skeptics, including Republican Senator Joni Ernst, who could also be up for the job if Trump moves on.
It was a very thorough conversation.
With Ernst on Trump's possible replacement list, when asked about it by reporters,
Mr. Hegseth is the nominee.
if it's not Hegseth, we've learned Trump is not only considering Ernst, but also possibly Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
It's not 100% clear to me who he wants as Secretary of Defense right now, and I defer to him.
Now, sources tell us that Trump and DeSantis did speak about this yesterday, and DeSantis made it very clear that he is interested in the job. But they were bitter rivals during the primary, and it would be quite something to see DeSantis join the Trump administration, given everything they've been through. Lindsay.
Quite something indeed. Mary, thank you. We're joined now by Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz. He's also the incoming chair of the Commerce Committee. Senator, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Lindsay, great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
You've said that you expect all of President-elect Trump's picks to get confirmed. With regard to Pete Hegseth in particular, the nominee for Secretary of Defense, just today, as you know, multiple sources told ABC News that Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis spoke about the Secretary of Defense job amid the allegations swirling around him. Does that give you pause that Hegseth may not ultimately be confirmed?
Well, listen, that'll be a decision ultimately that President Trump has to make. I will say Pete Hegseth, he's a decorated combat veteran. He served our nation. He's been deployed multiple times. He's spent a lifetime fighting for our servicemen and women, fighting to defend our veterans. And I do think he has a clear vision for bringing the Defense Department back to its core mission, for bringing it back to supporting the warfighters, for focusing on preparing and being ready to defeat the enemy if necessary, and for moving it away from a political agenda that detracts from its core mission. I think all of that is critical. I think all of that is a priority for President Trump, and I think it's a priority for this country. Ultimately, President Trump's going to make the decision as to which nominees he puts forward.
Let's talk about Kash Patel, of course, Trump's pick for FBI director. You've called him a very strong nominee. When Trump talked about making him deputy director in 2020, then Attorney General Bill Barr opposed the move so much he said it would only happen, quote, over my dead body. Patel has talked positively about the QAnon conspiracy theory. In the past, he has said that he would shut down FBI headquarters. In his book, he made a list of members of the deep state he wants to go after. Do any of these things concern you at all?
Well, listen, I'll say a couple of things. Number one, if you look at Kash Patel's background, he has been a senior intelligence staffer on Capitol Hill. He's been a senior intelligence staffer in the White House. He has been the chief of staff at the Department of Defense. He's been the deputy director of national intelligence. He's someone with deep background in addition to being a federal public defender and also a prosecutor. So he brings a deep background to the job. But secondly, I will say the world, and in particular the FBI and the Department of Justice, are very, very different today than they were back in 2020 when Bill Barr was Attorney General. And what we've seen for 4 years, tragically, has been the politicization and the weaponization of the Department of Justice and the FBI. And much of the criticism that is being directed at Kash Patel is not that he's not qualified for the job, but rather exactly the opposite. It is that his detractors are afraid he will actually do what he is committed to doing, which is to clean out the political corruption that sadly has done real damage to the FBI.
On your podcast, The Verdict with Ted Cruz, you called the Hunter Biden pardon an absolute abuse of power. Biden, of course, had repeatedly said that he would not pardon Hunter Biden. Then he did exactly that. On the other hand, Trump pardoned his son-in-law's father, Charles Kushner, his former chief of staff, Steve Bannon, among others. He's also implied he may pardon January 6 defendants. Of course, presidents have long had this right, but in your estimation, at what point does a pardon become an absolute abuse of power, as you call it?
Well, listen, one of the clear ways it becomes an abuse of power, whereas here, Joe Biden and the White House lied about it for a year. Joe Biden repeatedly looked in TV cameras and said, I will not pardon Hunter Biden. No, no, no. Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, repeatedly said, no, 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 zero chance of this happening. And as you noted on my podcast, Verdict with Ted Cruz, I predicted a year ago in January of this year, I said in December of 2024, Joe Biden is going to pardon Hunter Biden. I put the odds of that happening at 100%. And I said then, and I still believe now, Joe Biden was lying when he said that. Karine Jean-Pierre was lying when they said that. They knew they were lying, and everyone listening to them knew they were lying. And I think that is a real problem when you are lying to the American people. In my view, this pardon for Hunter Biden, of course, it is a father caring for his son, but I think at its heart, it is about Joe Biden protecting Joe Biden and not wanting investigation into influence peddling and selling favors that Joe Biden and his family have made tens of millions of dollars over the years doing exactly that.
Let's turn to an issue that many have called a crisis at the southern border. You yourself are from an immigrant family. You spent a lot of time looking at this issue, which, as you know, has plagued our country for decades. Americans have spoken loud and clear. They want the current system to be fixed. Why do we have so many people trying to enter the southern border? And what's your solution on day one to help solve this crisis?
Well, I think you're exactly right that this election, I don't think there was a single issue that was more important in this election than securing our border. And we have a mandate from the voters to secure the border. Now, you asked, how do we do that? Here's the good news. We know how to do it because we did it before. When President Trump was president before, I worked hand in hand with him to secure the border, and we achieved incredible successes. In the final year of Trump's presidency, we achieved the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. We have done it before. We'll do it again. How did this crisis happen? This crisis was deliberate. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris caused the border crisis by 3 decisions they made the very first week in office. Number 1, they immediately halted construction of the border wall. Number 2, they reinstated the disastrous policy of catch and release. And number 3, they pulled out of the incredibly successful Remain in Mexico agreement. And the result was we instantly went from the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years to the highest rate in the history of our country. 12 million people have come in illegally under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Here's the good news, Lindsay. Everything done through unilateral executive action can be undone through unilateral executive action. So I believe on day one, on January 20th of next year, President Trump will reverse those 3 decisions. He will resume construction of the border wall, he will end catch and release, and he will move to reinstate the Remain in Mexico agreement. And here's my prediction. We will see the numbers plummet, and it won't take a year, it won't take 6 months. The numbers will plummet by January and February of next year. And then Congress will follow it up by legislating and providing serious funding to secure the border and to keep our communities safe.
Senator Ted Cruz, a lot more questions for you, but we're out of time. I hope you come back on the show with us.
I look forward to it.
Thank you. Breaking news now out of Northern California. A shooting at an elementary school in Butte County. Reports of an adult firing shots at students. 2 students raced to the hospital. Our Melissa Adon reports from California.
Tonight, authorities say a man is dead after opening fire on children at an elementary school in Butte County, California.
Shots fired, 27 Cox Lane between Highway 70 and Simpson Road.
The calls to police coming around 1 p.m., authorities racing to the scene. At the Feather River School of Seventh-day Adventists in Palermo, California, about 10 miles outside Oroville, officials say 2 students were shot and wounded, rushed to the hospital. One of them had to be airlifted. Authorities finding the suspected shooter near the playground, dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The small school of some 35 students put on lockdown. The children taken to a nearby church to reunite with their families.
Lindsay, we're told the FBI is assisting in this investigation. Authorities say so far there is no known connection between the suspect and the school. Lindsay.
Melissa, thank you. Now to the fast-moving Clipper system from Canada, prompting wind and snow alerts for 100 million Americans. At the leading edge, a blinding snow squall in Fargo, North Dakota. In Erie, Pennsylvania, roofs crashing under more than 4 feet of snow, and whiteout conditions in Hancock, Michigan. Lee Goldberg times it out for us in a moment, but first, here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, deteriorating conditions across the upper Midwest as a powerful, fast-moving system packing wind and snow heads east, bringing whiteout conditions to Fargo, North Dakota. This time lapse showing a snow squall sweeping across I-94 in Warrens, Wisconsin. The new system comes on the heels of multiple days of snow that dumped more than 5 feet in parts of New York and caused chaos on the roads.
Oh, another one. Watch out.
New video showing a close call for Kansas law enforcement on Saturday as they were responding to a crash in Kansas City.
Yeah, my car just got hit too.
After this monster pileup on I-90 near Erie, Pennsylvania, residents there now bracing for the possibility of an additional 20 inches of snow on top of the more than 4 feet that already fell. And a race to clear what's already there. The heavy, wet snow is to blame for this roof collapse at a local business in Erie.
The weight of the snow just so great. Trevor Ault joins us now from Watertown, New York. And so what are they bracing for there in the coming days?
Yeah, well, Lindsay, we are once again under a winter storm warning that took effect this afternoon, and it's going to continue until Friday morning. That means here also we might see an additional 20 inches of snow. And also what really could cause a lot of problems, Lindsay, is wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. It is a recipe for really treacherous highways, and we've already seen what that can do in the past week. Lindsay?
We certainly have. Trevor Ault, our thanks to you as always. Let's get right to our chief meteorologist, Lee Goldberg of our partner station in New York, WABC. And Lee, time this out for us as far as the snow and the high wind that we can expect soon in the Northeast.
Sure thing, Lindsay. You know, a lot of us brush off clippers when we hear about these systems, but this has some power to it and has Arctic air behind it. We already have a lot of winter weather alerts from the upper Midwest all the way into the Northeast. That includes more lake snow warnings and blizzard warnings. We could get up to 10 inches of snow in parts of Appalachia and 60-mile-per-hour gusts. And you can see the wind advisory, 80 million people under those wind alerts. They could be damaging. So the heaviest snows are moving from the Great Lakes into the Northeast tonight. And in fact, by morning, with the Arctic front, there may actually be a little squall line of snow showers just north and west of the I-95 corridor. That limits visibility, can cause some slippery spots, and then the winds behind it. They gust up to 50 miles an hour during the afternoon hours. They could be damaging, maybe some scattered power outages. Have to watch out with those holiday decorations. Make sure they are secured. Then it's the wind chills. This Arctic air is pretty fierce. Sub-zero wind chills like 4 below in Chicago, 12 below in Grand Forks, and this air is moving eastward. The core of it will be over the Northeast into Friday to start the weekend. But you know what, Lindsay? There is some moderation after that. Rain by early next week. Lindsay?
Okay, all right. Lee Goldberg for us. Our thanks to you. Today, the Supreme Court heard arguments in what could ultimately be a landmark decision as to whether a state can interfere with the medical treatments of a minor if that minor is transgender. Devin Dwyer helps cover the Supreme Court for us. And Devin, I know that you interviewed the Tennessee family exclusively and their transgender daughter who sued to overturn their state's law restricting gender-affirming care. You heard the arguments of the Supreme Court today. What did you hear?
It was an extraordinary moment. First of all, Lindsay, this is the first time the Supreme Court has ever taken up a state law targeting transgender people. And they heard arguments today over 2.5 hours. That's double the allotted time, including from the first ever openly transgender attorney, an ACLU attorney, Chase Strangio, who is representing that family that we interviewed. And so debate today at the Supreme Court was quite intense and impassioned on both sides. The court was really fractured. We didn't hear a clear consensus on whether or not they think this law violates the Constitution, discriminates, as the plaintiffs allege, on the basis of sex.
When do we expect to hear that decision, Devin?
Yeah, the Supreme Court will begin drafting its opinion by the end of this week, Lindsay, but we won't know the way it will come out until likely the end of June. But so much is on the line for these more than 300,000 families in the United States with transgender kids as the Supreme Court now weighs them and their future in this country, Lindsay.
All right, a lot at stake there. Devin Dwyer, our thanks to you.
You bet.
Tonight, South Korea's president is fighting for his political life after declaring martial law, then being forced to withdraw it. Our chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell reports outside the parliament in Seoul as we learn more.
Dramatic new video tonight showing the violent clashes after South Korea's president, a key U.S. ally, declared martial law. The military acting on that order from a democratically elected president. Military helicopters seen landing outside Parliament. Soldiers smashing windows, hoisting themselves into the building. Officials spraying fire extinguishers at those soldiers. Lawmakers then revoking President Yoon's order. Yoon, claiming the opposition wants to overthrow his government, forced to lift the order. And tonight, a sea of protesters again, demanding Yoon's resignation. The Parliament filing a motion to impeach him, but that'll be hard to pass.
Lindsay, it's still early morning here in Seoul, and yet you can already hear the clear sound of protest songs being played, crowds gathering last night and expected to gather again today, calling for President Yoon's resignation. I think what's happened over the last day or so has shocked the United States, a key ally of South Korea. Many here hoping that this political crisis can be resolved soon. Lindsay?
Ian, thank you. Today, France's far-right and left-wing lawmakers joined together to force Prime Minister Michel Barnier and his cabinet to resign. The historic no-confidence vote was a first since 1962, prompted by budget disputes. Barnier, conservative, appointed in September, becomes the shortest-serving prime minister in France's modern republic. President Emmanuel Macron is set to address the nation tomorrow night. Still more to get to here on Prime tonight. What's behind a lawsuit in Washington, D.C. against retail giant Amazon? But next, she used to be a Democrat. Now she's Trump's controversial pick to be head of the Department of National Intelligence. Who is Tulsi Gabbard? Our in-depth report next.
I'm Clea, and I'm Joanna. We're about to host Extreme Makeover. My girls don't have a dad. We have 96 hours to build a house for a deserving family. It can't be real.
This was more than just Extreme Home Makeover. This was Extreme Life Makeover.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
In downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
ABC News Live everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Here in London.
From the front lines.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere.
The ancestors called on us for a reason.
To reconnect our people across the entire ocean.
Could have told me we're doing new outfits. Been rocking leaves on my cheeks for 1,000 years. Disney's Moana 2, rated PG. Now playing only in theaters.
What is happening inside the world's biggest pageants?
They treat women basically like cattle.
Belittling, berating, tearing people down.
Why are they surrounded by so much controversy?
The surprise from Miss USA announcing that she is resigning her title.
That was earth-shattering. There's a reckoning happening in pageantry.
The Miss Universe organization denies all of the allegations.
It really, truly may be the end of Miss USA or Miss Universe.
Cracks in the Crown, now streaming on Hulu.
Is that my GTO? I built that 15 years ago, and somebody stole it.
Hi, Dad.
There's the thief.
Hey, kids, say hi to Grandpa. Papa!
I'm crawling home because I'm broke. I need a place to stay until I figure out what the rest of my life looks like.
So, a couple of days. The last time you walked out that door, you looked back at me and gave me a double bird.
I was 18. The double bird was how I ended all our conversations.
Attention teachers, no child is to be sent to the principal's office today. Kids, if you want to do crime, now's the time. Happy first day of school. Yes. Weren't there like 4 more of these?
Yeah, we were robbed.
Hey, buy 3, get 1 free.
I'ma call your mother on you. Bring the rest back here, boy.
Welcome back, everyone. From Democratic Congresswoman to 2020 presidential hopeful to staunch Trump supporter, Tulsi Gabbard has had several transformations over the years. Her next potential chapter, Director of National Intelligence. The president-elect has selected Gabbard for the role, but her nomination comes with questions from critics, mostly surrounding her so-called relationship with America's adversaries and history of perpetuating harmful disinformation. In tonight's Prime Focus, our senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has a look at Gabbard's past and possible future.
She's really an amazing person.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard's up for one of the most coveted cabinet positions in President-elect Trump's administration.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Director of National Intelligence.
We can't allow our country to be destroyed by politicians who will put their own power ahead of the interests of the American people, our freedom, and our future.
Once fiercely critical of Trump's presidency,
his list of wrongdoings and abuses of power is very long. He is not fit to serve as president.
The former Democrat from Hawaii reversing course, registering as an independent, then endorsing Trump after her own failed presidential campaign in 2020.
Now is the time for us to send Donald Trump back to the White House to be the 47th president of the United States, where we can stand together and make America great again.
But the 43-year-old former congresswoman is mired in controversy. She has no intelligence experience, but would be overseeing 18 intelligence agencies with a $100 billion budget.
This is incredibly unusual to have someone who does not understand how intelligence operations happen, doesn't have any perspective of what it's like for these intelligence operations that happen across the community on the ground overseas, and how the intelligence community functions in terms of a national security entity. I wonder what it also does for the morale of the community, and I'm concerned about the exodus that may happen.
Gabbard served as a Democrat from Hawaii in the House of Representatives for 8 years, sitting on the Foreign Affairs Committee and serving as vice chair of the Democratic National Committee. She endorsed Bernie Sanders for president in 2016 and Joe Biden in 2020.
I've been serving in the Army for over 20 years. I'm a lieutenant colonel and a commander of the Army Reserve today.
The Army reservist who served in Iraq has been accused by public officials of voicing an anti-American agenda that hurts the interests of the United States. Like this message she posted on X, blaming the U.S. for the war in Ukraine.
She said a number of things over the years that are at odds with U.S. intelligence analysis. Tulsi Gabbard met twice with Assad. In around 2017, at a time when this was highly controversial. He was a sort of a toxic person. She didn't really give anybody a heads up that she was going to do this.
Bashar al-Assad is accused of war crimes against his own people during the Syrian civil war, which killed hundreds of thousands. A few months after the meeting, Gabbard said on CNN she was skeptical Assad used chemical weapons, despite overwhelming evidence from the U.S. government that he did.
Yes, I'm skeptical on these failed regime change wars that we've seen too often in Iraq, in Libya, and now continuing in Syria.
The Army reservist is vocally anti-war and has criticized Republican and Democratic administrations over military interventions.
The only place where she's advocated aggressive action is in fighting Islamic State and Islamic terrorism. Other than that, she's pretty much been consistent in saying the United States should not get involved in conflicts overseas. It's at odds with a great number of Republican senators who favor continued aid to Ukraine and a strong position vis-a-vis Russia.
For years, Gabbard rejected claims from high-ranking figures, most notably Hillary Clinton, that she's a Russian asset.
I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary and are grooming her to be the third-party candidate. She's the favorite of the Russians.
I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous and offensive on so many levels. I am a patriot. I love our country. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color, and I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and the freedom of all Americans in this country.
But Democrats continue to claim she is compromised.
She becomes a national security risk to the United States of America. She would not clear a national security exam on its face if she had to go through it.
Senator Tammy Duckworth on CNN also expressing concerns about Gabbard's nomination for an intelligence role.
The U.S. intelligence community has identified her as having troubling relationships with America's foes. And so my worry is that she couldn't pass a background check.
Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin, though, coming to Gabbard's defense, calling allegations that she's compromised outright dangerous. Gabbard has parroted Russian propaganda multiple times, most notably in this 2022 post on social media where she claimed Russia attacked Ukraine because of U.S.-funded biolabs.
According to the U.S. government, these biolabs are conducting research on dangerous pathogens. These labs need to be shut down immediately, and the pathogens,
that they hold need to be destroyed.
The labs are actually public and part of an international effort to stop bioweapons and prevent outbreaks. Gabbard reportedly said she didn't mean anything nefarious by the post, but she's propagated the same arguments that Russia has made to justify its invasion of Ukraine.
The Russian propagandists on Russian state TV called her our girlfriend.
Do you believe that she poses a risk to American national security in this role as Director of National Intelligence?
I do. It's really unprecedented to see someone who has repeated propaganda talking points that the Kremlin has pushed out.
If Gabbard gets the DNI position, she'll become one of President-elect Trump's top intelligence advisors.
This is a very powerful position. The person in that position controls the budget, can control what intelligence the president sees or how it's presented, can control what kind of sensitive information is declassified or not declassified.
And while Trump is stacking his cabinet with loyalists, it's ultimately up to the Senate to decide whether Gabbard is fit for the role.
History will look back on us at this moment for the choice that we make.
And if Gabbard is confirmed, the effects would ripple far beyond America's borders.
Foreign adversaries probably celebrate this moment. They have succeeded in putting someone that is sympathetic to their causes, regardless of whether you voted for Trump or not. You should be concerned about this type of individual leading the national security apparatus because it does have consequences for us here on the homeland.
Some are concerned about the global implications here. Our thanks to Selena Wang for that. Still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, a raw milk recall is expanding after officials found the bird flu virus in milk samples. But next, tapping your toes to Taylor, shaking your hips to Shakira, or bobbing your head to Beyonce. Who was the queen of your Spotify Wrapped 2024? We look at the top streamed artists globally by the numbers.
How many elephants have you killed? True natural beauty, one of the last of its kind. But this comes at a cost. 5 countries, 5 incredible real stories of adventure, danger,
We have to go.
and deceit. Where are we going next? We got this ongoing search for the animal we've been trying to find. These are the last lands. The national parks around the world that have to be saved.
I'm Clea, and I'm Joanna. We're about to host Extreme Makeover. My girls don't have a dad. We have 96 hours to build a house for a deserving family. It can't be real.
This was more than just Extreme Home Makeover. This was Extreme Life Makeover.
What is happening inside the world's biggest pageants?
They treat women basically like cattle.
Belittling, berating, tearing people down.
Why are they surrounded by so much controversy?
The surprise from Miss USA announcing that she is resigning her title.
That was earth-shattering. There's a reckoning happening in pageantry.
The Miss Universe organization denies all of the allegations.
It really, truly may be the end of Miss USA or Miss Universe.
Cracks in the Crown, now streaming on Hulu.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
In downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
ABC News Live everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Here in London. From the front lines.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
Attention teachers, no child is to be sent to the principal's office today. Kids, if you want to do crime, now's the time. Happy first day in school.
Yes. Weren't there like 4 more of these?
Yeah, we were robbed.
Hey,
Buy 3, get 1 free.
I'ma call your mother on you. Bring the rest back here, boy.
You know something serious about to happen. I have an idea.
You guys have eyes on your targets.
Shouldn't we strategize?
Come on, we're gonna improvise. Freestyle.
No.
Covering the political turmoil in South Korea, I'm Ian Pannell. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. Unwrapping your most listened to tunes of the year. Popular music streaming platform Spotify released its highly anticipated year-end data dive, Spotify Wrapped 2024. So which artist did the world jam out to most? We take a look tonight by the numbers. As she nears the end of her record-breaking Eras tour, Taylor Swift is once again in her most streamed global artist era. She took Spotify's top spot for the second year in a row. Swift's music generated more than 26.6 billion streams on the platform this year. Much of this year's success is thanks to her album, The Tortured Poets Department. It became the first album to top 300 million streams in one day and more than 1 billion in the first week of release. Swift was just one of 8 women occupying the top 10 most streamed albums worldwide on Spotify, including Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish at number 2, Karol G's Mañana Será Bonito at number 4, and SZA's SOS at number 7. As for Spotify's most streamed songs worldwide in 2024, a good dose of caffeine. Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso takes the crown with more than 1.6 billion streams globally. Also in the top 10 artists streamed globally, The Weeknd at number 2, Bad Bunny at 3, and Drake at 5. Spotify also gives us a look at the top streamed podcasts globally. The Joe Rogan Experience was number 1, with Call Her Daddy as runner-up. And we still have much more to get to here on Prime tonight. We talked to the star behind the star-studded new film Emilia Perez about how she hopes to blaze a trail in Hollywood as the first openly transgender actor ever nominated for an Oscar. Plus, the World Health Organization is now investigating an unknown illness in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and determining the likelihood of it spreading.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home.
Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters. He's coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+.
Is that my GTO? I built that 15 years ago, and somebody stole it.
Hi, Dad.
There's the thief.
Hey, kids, say hi to Grandpa. Papa!
I'm crawling home because I'm broke. I need a place to stay until I figure out what the rest of my life looks like.
So, a couple of days. The last time you walked out that door, you looked back at me and gave me a double bird.
I was 18. The double bird was how I ended all our conversations.
America's #1 news, ABC News, now streaming 24/7 on Disney+.
What is happening inside the world's biggest pageants?
They treat women basically like cattle.
Belittling, berating, tearing people down.
If you want to win, you are more likely to want to keep your mouth shut.
Why are they surrounded by so much controversy?
The surprise from Miss USA announcing that she is resigning her title.
That was earth-shattering.
The intense backlash.
Why am I still joining if these people don't see my value?
At this point, it's become really hard to believe anything that the organization says.
The Miss Universe organization denies all of the allegations.
There's a reckoning happening in pageantry. It really, truly may be the end of Miss USA or Miss Universe.
Cracks in the crown. Miss Universe in crisis. This is Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us.
We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day all morning live. ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
Are you going to build it back up? And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekends.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Live reporting, breaking new exclusives. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
More raw milk is recalled because of the bird flu. Amazon is accused of secretly stopping fast deliveries to low-income areas in a major city. And from space tourists to the head of NASA, meet the billionaire tapped by President-elect Trump to lead the agency. These stories and more in tonight's Rundown.
A California farm expanded a recall of raw milk sold in stores and halted production after state health officials found bird flu virus in more milk samples. The California Department of Food and Agriculture quarantined Raw Farm of Fresno and suspended distribution of raw milk, cream, kefir, butter, and cheese products produced on or after November 27. Health officials say no known cases of bird flu virus have been confirmed in people who drank the raw milk, but pet owners should know avoid feeding raw farm products sold nationwide as pet food topper. A mysterious flu-like disease has killed dozens of people in the Central African country of Congo. Local authorities and the World Health Organization are investigating. At least 143 people have died over the last 2 weeks. A local epidemiologist said women and children were the most seriously affected by the disease. The Washington, D.C. Attorney General's office is suing Amazon for allegedly duping 48,000 city residents into paying for Prime membership delivery benefits they actually are not receiving. The suit claims since 2022, Amazon secretly stopped its quick delivery service in 2 predominantly black and low-income zip codes in the city by imposing what it called a delivery exclusion and instead used third-party delivery services like UPS or the Postal Service. Amazon says it made the change based on driver safety concerns. A new study from drug maker Eli Lilly sheds light on which of 2 drugs currently approved by the FDA for weight loss is most effective at helping people lose more weight in less time. The study found the drug maker's Zepbound helped patients lose about 20% of their weight on average to 14% for Wegovy. Mitt Romney gave an emotional farewell speech today on the Senate floor, thanking those he served in his one and only term as a Utah senator and urged Americans to uphold the nation's values.
A country's character is a reflection not just of its elected officials, but also of its people. I leave Washington to return to be one among them and hope to be a voice of unity and virtue.
His speech caps years of political service that included 2 presidential bids, a term as governor, and service in the United States Senate. President-elect Donald Trump has chosen billionaire astronaut Jared Isaacman to be the next administrator of NASA. Isaacman made headlines earlier this year when he became the first private astronaut to conduct a spacewalk on a 5-day mission that took place using a capsule built by Elon Musk's company, SpaceX.
It's the movie topping every Oscars prediction list and one of the most talked about films of the year. Genre-bending Emilia Perez tells the story of 4 women in Mexico touching on emotional issues through dance and music with a star-studded cast that includes Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana. The movie is expected to receive multiple nominations this season, and it's the film's actress, Carla Sofia Gascon, who might be making Academy Award history for her 2 roles in the movie, both as Emilia and cartel kingpin Manitas. We sat down with Carla to talk about her experience making this film and her possible path to receiving that Best Actress nomination. And now I want to welcome Carla Sofia Gascon. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
For people who've never seen Amelia, it is so many things. It is an action, it is a musical, it is a drama. How would you explain Emilia Pérez?
Bueno, creo que Emilia Pérez al final es como el amor, no se puede describir. Es solamente una experiencia, es algo que han tratado muchos periodistas o muchos titulares de escribir, que si narcomusical, que si una película de acción, que si, pero es imposible. Es solamente algo que tú te tienes que sentar en el cine y experimentar y dejarte llevar y quedarte conectado con esa película, con esta maravilla que creo que hemos realizado.
For those who have not seen the movie, obviously you play Amelia and you play Manitas, who is the leader of this drug cartel. And I want to show a quick clip of you, the transformation of you becoming Manitas. Cuando yo estaba a ver la primera vez, no sé que tú estás Manitas, right? I mean, I did not know that you were the Manitas. Obviously, you've been acting for years, but has there ever been a character you've played that has come close to this?
No, nunca había tenido un personaje como este. Estamos acostumbrados, creo, a historias, obviamente, de héroes, de villanos, pero un personaje con tal arco de posibilidades que empieza siendo lo peor, que va de la oscuridad a la luz y que en la película te muestra las dos versiones de ese Darth Vader, digamos, pero como si hubieras puesto a Darth Vader y se hubiera convertido en Luke Skywalker o en un santo, me parece increíble.
What was harder for you, Amelia or Manitas?
More harder is Emilia because it's more close to me. Oh. Yes, and when you play people or play characters or roles more close than you, it's more difficult because when you watch in the mirror, you have a less freedom to play, no? I don't know why that happened, no? Ya no sé quién es Manitas. Y sí, pienso en ello. Y me arrepiento de muchas cosas.
Congratulations, obviously, on Best Actress at the Cannes Film Festival. What did that mean to you?
Es algo maravilloso, es un honor, pero para mí el premio mayor que he tenido es haber podido hacer esta maravillosa película que Jack me ha regalado. Me emociono porque es un personaje que es muy difícil que escriban, ni siquiera los guionistas, para cualquier actor. Es un personaje de esos que solamente te ocurren una vez en la vida y que tienes que agarrarlo y tomar esa oportunidad como algo especial. Y obviamente también fue una alegría porque, quieras o no, represento a una minoría marginalizada de la población que necesita referentes, igual que los han necesitado otras personas en otros momentos en la cinematografía. Y para mí es un orgullo. Quiero ser una mujer.
No entiendo.
¿Qué no entiende?
So many people are talking about Oscars for this movie. When you first read the script, were you thinking it had that potential?
Obviamente, todo el mundo que hace algo quiere llegar a lo máximo y quiere llegar a un reconocimiento cuanto mayor, mejor. Cualquier premio que yo reciba será un honor para mí. Y creo que también será un honor para muchísimas personas a las que se pueden sentir representadas.
There are so many aspects of this movie. It's about the disappeared movement, gender affirmation, the violence related to the drug cartels, but it's also about love and redemption. When you watch the movie, what do you take away from it personally?
Yo creo que lo más importante es que la película pone muchos temas encima de la mesa para que tú reflexiones sobre ellos. No es ese tipo de películas en las que te dicen lo que tienes que pensar o te dan una moraleja o una moralina, pero sí hay algo que creo que es lo más importante que nos deja esta película, es que todos podemos cambiar a mejor. Que todos tenemos la oportunidad de dejar atrás lo que hemos hecho mal y empezar a hacer las cosas bien desde este mismo instante. Creo que eso es lo más importante.
¿Y con quién andas aquí?
Con Simon. Él se encarga de mis asuntos en Europa.
Con Simon. ¿Sabes que de hecho Simon y yo...
Have you practiced your Oscars acceptance speech yet?
Yeah, no, I don't practice nothing because I improvise a lot of time. All time I improvise, and I prefer to improvise in all places.
Carla Sofia Gascon, muchas gracias para todo.
Thank you so much.
We thank Carla for that interview once again. Make sure to catch Carla in Amelia Perez, streaming now on Netflix and playing in select theaters across the country. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in our next hour, the possible motives police are looking into after the United Healthcare CEO was gunned down outside of a New York City hotel. Plus, a promise from Trump's embattled pick Pete Hegseth to stop drinking if confirmed as defense secretary.
What is happening inside the world's biggest pageants?
They treat women basically like cattle.
Belittling, berating, tearing people down.
Why are they surrounded by so much controversy?
The surprise from Miss USA announcing that she is resigning her title.
That was earth-shattering. There's a reckoning happening in pageantry.
The Miss Universe organization denies all of the allegations.
It really, truly may be the end of Miss USA or Miss Universe.
Cracks in the Crown, now streaming on Hulu.
The ancestors called on us for a reason.
To reconnect our people across the entire ocean.
Could have told me we're doing new outfits. Been rocking leaves on my cheeks for 1,000 years. Disney's Moana 2, rated PG. Now playing only in theaters.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
Michael, George, Clara, Ginger.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home. Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters is coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this. Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us.
We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day all morning live. ABC News Live. Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is. Are you going to build it back up?
And ABC News Live lighting up the weekends.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Tonight, we begin with that brazen murder in the middle of America's largest city. The CEO of United Healthcare gunned down outside the Hilton Hotel where investors were about to meet. Now, an urgent manhunt is underway for this man. Surveillance video shows United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson at 6:40 this morning. The gunman shot him from behind and then fired several more rounds. Police say he then ran into an alley, hopped on a bicycle, and rode into Central Park. Authorities are now asking for the public's help, sharing these images of the masked suspect wearing a hooded jacket and distinctive gray backpack. Investigators have found clues at the scene: a water bottle, a candy wrapper, a cell phone, and shell casings. Also tonight, the search for a motive. Was it personal, or did it have anything to do with the CEO's job? We begin with our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky.
This is the chilling moment a gunman opens fire multiple times in the heart of Manhattan, killing Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, one of the nation's largest health insurers, as he arrived at an investors conference at the Hilton Hotel. Police studying that video showing the suspect firing from just feet away with a gun that appears to have a silencer.
Every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack.
The horror unfolding at the start of the morning rush hour. Police say the shooter was lying in wait for several minutes. A woman standing in a doorway is seen running away when the shooting starts.
It appears that the gun malfunctions as he clears the jam and begins to fire again. From watching the video, it does seem that he's proficient in the use of firearms, as he was able to clear the malfunctions pretty quickly.
That's him, you know, when he was running, I got like a black gun, and I saw him after he shot him, he ran across the street.
Thompson, a 50-year-old husband and father of two from Minnesota, was shot multiple times in his back and leg. EMTs racing him to the hospital, but it was too late. After the shooting, the killer made his escape on foot through this alleyway. Eventually, he hopped on a bike and pedaled off towards Central Park. A surveillance camera capturing the suspect on that bike in a matter of minutes as he heads up 6th Avenue and is last seen entering Central Park at 6:48 a.m.
The shooter appears to be a light-skinned male. He's wearing a light brown or cream-colored jacket, a black face mask, black and white sneakers, and a very distinctive gray backpack.
Tonight, an urgent search for a killer and his motive. Did he have any known enemies or anyone that you've been able to find so far?
We're reaching out to law enforcement in Minnesota, and we're also interviewing his co-workers and family members to see if there have been any specific threats against him in the past.
Thompson's wife, Paulette, issuing a statement to ABC News saying, "We are shattered to hear about the senseless killing of our beloved Brian. Brian was an incredibly loving, generous, talented man who truly lived life to the fullest and touched so many lives. Most importantly, Brian was an incredibly loving father to our two sons and will be greatly missed." His wife not confirming whether there had been threats against her husband, but 3 different Minnesota law enforcement agencies told ABC News there had been no reports of threats against Thompson. Sources tell ABC News investigators believe a cell phone, candy wrapper, and water bottle found near the hotel are linked to the shooter. Detectives also recovered 3 live rounds and 3 spent rounds from a 9mm gun.
And we will not rest until we identify and apprehend the shooter in this case.
The targeted shooting just blocks from Rockefeller Center, where tonight tens of thousands are gathering for the annual Christmas tree lighting. The NYPD is trying to reassure them.
Millions of people will be enjoying the tree lighting tonight, among other holiday events, and the NYPD will be out there with them, keeping them safe.
Our thanks to Aaron Katersky. President-elect Trump's embattled nominee for Defense Secretary, former Fox host Pete Hegseth, is standing firm, saying Trump told him to keep fighting. Hegseth's mother appeared on Fox News, acknowledging that she wrote a letter accusing her son of abusing women 7 years ago. But she says now he's changed. Meantime, other names are emerging as possible options in the event that Hegseth withdraws. Here's Mary Bruce.
Tonight, Donald Trump's embattled pick for Secretary of Defense, former Fox News host Pete Hegseth, says he will keep fighting.
I spoke to the president-elect this morning. He said, keep going, keep fighting. Find all the way.
So you're in this all the way.
Why would I back down? I've always been a fighter.
Hegseth back on Capitol Hill facing a barrage of new questions about troubling allegations involving alleged sexual misconduct, alcohol problems, and financial mismanagement. And tonight, multiple sources tell us Trump is now considering other options to lead the Pentagon.
Excuse us.
Are you planning to drop out?
Today, Hegseth calling those allegations the art of the smear, adamantly denying a rape accusation and saying he doesn't have a problem with alcohol, even promising not to drink if he gets the job.
He offered up to me, and I know he has with other senators too, that he's not drinking, and that's not something he's going to do when confirmed here.
And tonight, Hegseth now relying on his mother, too, to make the case for him. Today on Fox News, his mother saying he's a changed man. But when asked about a 2018 email she wrote him accusing her son of being an abuser of women, she didn't deny the email, but maintained he's different now.
I would just say that some of those attachments or descriptions are just not true, especially anymore.
Tonight, with a growing number of Republican senators signaling they are not behind him, Hegseth, an Army veteran with no military leadership experience, still making the case for himself.
That's what Donald Trump asked me to do. Your job is to bring a war-fighting ethos back to the Pentagon. Your job is to make sure that it's lethality, lethality, lethality. Everything else is gone. Everything else that distracts from that shouldn't be happening. That's the message I'm hearing from senators in that advise and consent process.
He can lose just 3 Republican senators, today trying to court key skeptics, including Republican Senator Joni Ernst, who could also be up for the job if Trump moves on.
It was a very thorough conversation.
With Ernst on Trump's possible replacement list, when asked about it by reporters,
Mr. Hegseth is the nominee.
If it's not Hegseth, we've learned Trump is not only considering Ernst, but also possibly Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
It's not 100% clear to me who he wants as Secretary of Defense right now, and I defer to him.
Our thanks to Mary Bruce. President-elect Donald Trump has announced he's bringing back former White House advisor Peter Navarro, this time to serve as senior counsel for trade and manufacturing. Navarro served 4 months in prison after being convicted of 2 counts of contempt of Congress for refusing to provide testimony and documents to the House committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attack. Now to the latest in the Chinese hacking and espionage campaign that's targeted mobile phone users. U.S. officials suspect data and information from more than 1 million customers was likely stolen. Officials are calling this a major intelligence gathering operation by the People's Republic of China, exploiting network weaknesses at the largest telecommunications companies, including Verizon and AT&T. According to the FBI, stolen data includes who phone users were talking to, when they spoke, and the location they were communicating from. Now to the fast-moving Clipper system from Canada, prompting wind and snow alerts for 100 million Americans. At the leading edge, a blinding snow squall in Fargo, North Dakota. In Erie, Pennsylvania, roofs crashing under more than 4 feet of snow, and whiteout conditions in Hancock, Michigan. Lee Goldberg times it out in a moment, but first, here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, deteriorating conditions across the upper Midwest as a powerful, fast-moving system packing wind and snow heads east, bringing whiteout conditions to Fargo, North Dakota. This time-lapse showing a snow squall sweeping across I-94 in Warrens, Wisconsin. The new system comes on the heels of multiple days of snow that dumped more than 5 feet in parts of New York and caused chaos on the roads.
Oh, another one. Watch out.
New video showing a close call for Kansas law enforcement on Saturday as they were responding to a crash in Kansas City.
Yeah, my car just got hit too.
After this monster pileup on I-90 near Erie, Pennsylvania, residents there now bracing for the possibility of an additional 20 inches of snow on top of the more than 4 feet that already fell. And a race to clear what's already there. The heavy, wet snow is to blame for this roof collapse at a local business in Erie.
Let's get right to our chief meteorologist, Lee Goldberg, of our partner station in New York, WABC. And Lee, time this out for us as far as the snow and the high wind that we can expect soon in the Northeast.
Sure thing, Lindsay. You know, a lot of us brush off clippers when we hear about these systems, but this has some power to it and has Arctic air behind it. We already have a lot of winter weather alerts from the upper Midwest all the way into the Northeast. That includes more lake snow warnings and blizzard warnings. We could get up to 10 inches of snow in parts of Appalachia and 60-mile-per-hour gusts. And you can see the wind advisory, 80 million people under those wind alerts. They could be damaging. So the heaviest snows are moving from the Great Lakes into the Northeast tonight. And in fact, by morning, with the Arctic front, there may actually be a little squall line of snow showers just north and west of the I-95 corridor. That limits visibility. You cause some slippery spots, and then the winds behind it. They gust up to 50 miles an hour during the afternoon hours. They could be damaging. Maybe some scattered power outages. Have to watch out with those holiday decorations. Make sure they are secured. Then it's the wind chills. This Arctic air is pretty fierce. Sub-zero wind chills like 4 below in Chicago, 12 below in Grand Forks, and this air is moving eastward. The core of it will be over the Northeast into Friday to start the weekend. But you know what, Lindsay? There is some moderation after that. Rain by early next week. Lindsay?
Okay, all right. Lee Goldberg for us. Our thanks to you. Tonight, South Korea's president fired his defense minister as he fights for his own political life after declaring martial law, but then being forced to withdraw it. Our chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell reports from outside of the parliament in Seoul.
Dramatic new video tonight showing the violent clashes after South Korea's president, a key U.S. ally, declared martial law. The military acting on that order from a democratically elected president. Military helicopters seen landing outside Parliament. Soldiers smashing windows, hoisting themselves into the building. Officials spraying fire extinguishers at those soldiers. Lawmakers then revoking President Yoon's order. Yoon, claiming the opposition wants to overthrow his government, forced to lift the order. And tonight, a sea of protesters again, demanding Yoon's resignation. The Parliament filing a motion to impeach him, but that'll be hard to pass.
Our thanks to Ian. We turn now to the Middle East, where the body of Israeli hostage Itai Svirsky was recovered by IDF forces in Gaza. Svirsky, who was taken hostage and killed while in Hamas captivity, was declared dead in January. The IDF plans to return his body back home to his remaining family members. Svirsky's parents were also murdered during the October 7th Hamas attack. Still more to get to tonight. Actor James Van Der Beek shares new details about his health just weeks after telling the world of his colorectal cancer diagnosis. But next, France spirals into chaos after lawmakers vote to oust the prime minister.
How many elephants have you killed? True natural beauty, one of the last of its kind. But this comes at a cost. 5 countries, 5 incredible real stories of adventure, danger,
We have to go.
and deceit. Where are we going next? We got this ongoing search for the animal we've been trying to find. These are the last lands. The national parks around the world that have to be saved. There.
I'm Clea. And I'm Joanna. We're about to host Extreme Makeover. My girls don't have a dad. We have 96 hours to build a house for a deserving family. It can't be real.
This was more than just extreme home makeover. This was extreme life makeover.
What is happening inside the world's biggest pageants?
They treat women basically like cattle.
Belittling, berating, tearing people down.
Why are they surrounded by so much controversy?
The surprise from Miss USA announcing that she is resigning her title.
That was earth-shattering. There's a reckoning happening in pageantry.
The Miss Universe organization denies all of the allegations.
It really, truly may be the end of Miss USA or Miss Universe.
Cracks in the Crown, now streaming on Hulu.
I'm Rachel Scott reporting from Donald Trump's rally here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. For the 7th night in a row, pro-European Union protesters gathered in Georgia's capital city following the governing party's decision to suspend negotiations on joining the EU. The opposition party Coalition of Change says its leader was beaten unconscious and detained by police. Large crowds have clashed violently with police in recent days, calling for an end to a government they accuse of turning back toward Russia. And more political turmoil in France, where Prime Minister Michel Barnier was ousted today. It's the first vote of no confidence in France since 1962, underscoring deep political divisions between the far left and far right. PM Barnier had only been in office for 91 days, and a snap election in June resulted in a stalemate in Parliament. President Emmanuel Macron will address the country tomorrow. And Cuba's national electrical system collapsed today following the failure of the country's largest power plant. The system failure left nearly all of the capital city of Havana completely in the dark. It's just the latest in nationwide blackouts caused by the island's obsolete power plants and the dwindling of oil imports from Venezuela, Russia, and Mexico. Some would call actor James Van Der Beek a lucky guy. He's been a star his entire adult life since landing the lead in Dawson's Creek at 20 years old. But a recent cancer diagnosis has taught him just how lucky he is. He spoke exclusively with our Robin Roberts.
Hollywood heartthrob James Van Der Beek has been on the scene since the 90s, playing the popular bench warmer in Varsity Blues.
Let's be heroes.
And later, playing himself on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23.
You told me your name was Simone and you sold me a condo.
To many, he's still Dawson Leary from Dawson's Creek.
When I saw you at the movie theater with that lipstick on, I remember thinking how pretty you looked.
Like his fans, he's now all grown up. At 47, he's a husband and father to 6 children.
It's kind of therapeutic. I don't have a solution for that one, other than a change.
But his world turned upside down after a routine colonoscopy revealed he had colon cancer. Now, in his most recent role, he'll be bearing it all for an upcoming TV special, The Real Full Monty, to raise awareness for prostate, testicular, and colorectal cancer testing and research.
If we can do the striptease in front of a live audience, hopefully that'll inspire people to go get checked.
Opening up to my colleague Robin Roberts about keeping the faith while dealing with his diagnosis.
About a year and a half since your diagnosis. So how are you physically and emotionally right now?
Physically, I'm great. I'm feeling really good. Emotionally, you know, it's a lot. Yeah. It's really a ride.
When you're first, no one wants to hear those words. You have cancer.
Yeah.
What went through your mind when you first heard those words?
I was honestly in shock. I was doing what I thought I needed to do by getting the colonoscopy, which obviously I did need to do. I was in amazing cardiovascular shape. I was eating what I thought was healthy. And I had a whole agenda for what I thought my year would be and what I thought my priorities would be in the next couple of weeks and months. And it's just the reality that all of that was going to change and take a different trajectory. It felt like a nightmare, honestly, at first, that I couldn't quite wake up from. And, yeah, it's a lot.
And you said your optimism. Your optimism is helping you a great deal. How so?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple things that I knew. As soon as I got diagnosed, I knew, all right, this is going to add many happy years to my life. I'm going to make changes that I never would have made otherwise, that I'm going to look back on in 30 years and say, thank God this happened. So what can I do right now in order to make that the case? And that's how I was about 90% of the time. I would say about 10% of the time I was a sobbing, terrified mess.
Sure.
It's been an exercise in just being present to all of it.
I'm so grateful that you were able to be private about this for so long.
I was really lucky.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So why now? Why have you decided to share your story now?
Well, I mean, a couple things. I had a tabloid call and say, we have the story and we're running with it. Fortunately, I had started to put some of the wheels in motion about how I would talk about it. I had agreed to do The Real Full Monty, which is a 2-hour special on Fox where a bunch of celebrities learned and performed the Full Monty striptease to raise awareness for early cancer detection. And I just thought that would be a really good thing to do. It'd be a good supportive group of guys. And just having been in the public eye as long as I have, as soon as this happened, I thought, you know what, there's going to be a purpose to this. I think by sharing this, I can do some good. Especially my type of cancer is twice as prevalent now as it was in the 90s.
Yeah, with younger.
And with
as well,
younger
yeah.
and healthier people. So the more I could get the word out to get tested, get your colonoscopies, get scanned even before you have symptoms.
Yeah.
They just dropped the age from, I think, 50 to 45, and then even to 40 if you have a history of it. So whatever I can do to get that word out and to, you know, as amazing and cathartic as this year has been, it's been really tough.
I'm sure it
if I
has.
can help anybody, if I could spare anyone the experience of my last year, I would definitely want to do that.
And the outpouring of love since that time.
Oh,
you
man.
had your wife, Kim. She was there. You said that she has been your rock. How has she helped you?
She's, this is where I'm going to lose it.
Oh.
She's been amazing. She's really taught me what unconditional love is. And I'm someone who has always in the past tried to do everything for everybody and never asked for help myself. And this has put me in a position of having to ask for help and having to receive help. And the beautiful blessing of that has been seeing how many people in my life have shown up.
And you and Kim are blessed with 6 incredible children.
Yeah.
And I was telling you in the break, I love how you said same ingredients, same recipe, but they're all different.
They all come out different, man.
And how are they handling everything?
It's a lot of little hearts to look after.
Yeah.
That's a lot of, you know, and they all respond differently. They all hide differently. You know, some of them are very outward with their fears and they talk about them, and some of them it manifests in other ways, in other behavioral ways, or they get really quiet. You know, if I could get them to stop calling it butt cancer, I'd be psyched.
What is your message, your hope for people that are hearing your story for the first time today?
My message would be, first of all, get tested, get scanned. I mean, that was the whole point of the Full Monty, was if we can stand on a stage and strip, you know, to raise awareness for this, you can have a conversation with your doctor.
Well put. That's true.
That's kind of the idea behind it. And then the other one is, you know, wherever you're at, wherever that diagnosis is, there's always hope. There's really so much we don't know about cancer and how to treat it. And people are discovering things every day, and there's a lot of research you can do. So I would just say, yeah, have hope. You're not alone, and you got this.
And you're doing things to help raise money?
Yeah.
Yeah, Varsity Blues?
Yeah, I started selling some Varsity Blues jerseys on my Instagram, just because cancer's expensive.
Yeah.
It's really, even with insurance. And so I'll be paying some of my own medical bills and helping a friend who's got an organization that helps families deal with just the financial burden of this. Because not only, a lot of times people can't work. I'm lucky I'm back at work, so that's all going well. But yeah, it can be really just financially devastating for people.
Yeah.
So I think that's an area that I want to get into.
Hey, James, thank you so much.
Robin,
and
thank you so much for having me.
Your message, you're making a difference, making an impact.
Well, thank you for sharing what you have as well.
Our thanks to Robin for that conversation. And still to come, meet Bo the Bloodhound, a heroic police dog with a nose for crime. The pup gets a lot of attention for his cute ears, but it's his scent superpowers that have rescued lost children and seniors in distress. How canine units help keep our communities safe.
Ancestors called on us for a reason.
To reconnect our people across the entire ocean.
Could have told me we're doing new outfits. Been rocking leaves on my cheeks for 1,000 years. Disney's Moana 2, rated PG. Now playing only in theaters.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us. We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day, all morning live. ABC News Live. Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is. Are you going to build it back up?
And ABC News Live lighting up the weekend.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscar Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
What is happening inside the world's biggest pageants?
They treat women basically like cattle.
Belittling, berating, tearing people down.
Why are they surrounded by so much controversy?
The surprise from Miss USA announcing that she is resigning her title.
That was earth-shattering. There's a reckoning happening in pageantry.
The Miss Universe organization denies all of the allegations.
It really, truly may be the end of Miss USA or Miss Universe.
Cracks in the Crown, now streaming on Hulu.
Bloodhounds are often portrayed as bumbling, hapless, and lovable, but when it comes to their noses, they are dead serious, especially one bloodhound in the K-9 unit of the Gastonia, North Carolina Police Department, who's now being recognized nationally for his nose and his dedication. Our Danny New has his story.
When Bo's nose finds a scent, nothing will stand in his way.
He may not, look like it, but he's 100 pounds and he pulls like an ox.
Sergeant David Rowland of the Gastonia Police Department in North Carolina has witnessed that determination more than anybody. But now the rest of the country is learning about Bo's passion and superpowers too, as this 18-month-old has just received the 2024 Hero Dog Award by the nonprofit American Humane.
I'm extremely proud that and grateful that he was selected. And
Find him, Bo. David and the station's dog trainer started working with Bo when he was 8 weeks old, and oh my gosh, look at those ears. Oh, sorry. But Bo quickly proved that his nose is quite special.
He could track you through a city street, highways.
One of his first tests came the same month he officially joined the force in October of 2023, when Bo was able to track down a missing 11-year-old boy with autism who was thankfully okay.
With Bo, we were able to track through a residential neighborhood that has a lot of pet odor, which hangs up a lot of normal police canines.
Bo has also helped find many missing seniors with dementia, one time simply by smelling a man's pillowcase.
He picked up the scent, and we tracked to the next town over to a grocery store. And there the gentleman is sitting on the bench.
To be clear, though, Bo still gets plenty of downtime at the Rowland family home and loves running around with David's now retired canine officer, Colt. As you saw earlier, Bo and his big award were also celebrated over the weekend at Gastonia's annual Christmas parade.
Hey, how you doing?
And while David says they, of course, don't do all this for the recognition, he does appreciate the opportunity to talk about dogs like Bo.
It brings awareness to what all police canines are out here doing every single day, every night out here in your community.
Bo knows. Our thanks to Danny New for that. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
Wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo,